Welcome to the Biological Life Sciences student. Today in this video, we are going to see about habitat and niche. Okay. So what is habitat and what is niche for different organisms that we are going to see in this today's video. Okay. So let's start with the introduction. Habitat, as we know, refers to a place. It refers to a place where an organism or species lives. Okay. So intermediate environment of an organism is always called as habitat. Okay. Uh, Intermediate environment of an organism where an organism or species lives or where an organism thrives is called as habitat. Okay, is called as habitat. Yes. So example here, a pond is an habitat of zooplanktons. You know, Daphnia and other zooplanktons which lives in pond. For them, the pond is an habitat. Okay, for fish, the pond is an habitat. Okay, likewise, where an organism lives is actually the habitat of that particular organism. Okay, so and the role of an organism in its environment is called its niche. Okay, for example, the fish is living in a pond ecosystem. Okay, so what is the role of the fish there? The fish helps in eating lots of zooplanktons, and it is a important it has an important role in the food chain. Okay, so that role of fish in that food chain or in that environment or in that ecosystem is actually called as niche. Okay, so it denotes the working place of an organism. Okay, habitat can be similar for some organisms, but niche is different for each and every organism. Okay, so for example, in a particular habitat, or also for example a tree, on that particular tree lots of birds lives. Yes, so the tree is the habitat for lots of birds, but niche will be different for different kinds of birds, because some birds may be eating fruit, some birds may be eating the insects on that tree. So niche is always different for different kinds of animals or organisms. Okay, here example of niche is a lake is a type of habitat for all kind of fishes, but niche is that these fishes may be carnivorous, these fishes may be herbivorous, or these fishes may be omnivorous depending on their food habitat. Okay, so this is the major thing that differentiate between habitat and niche. Okay, so first let us see in details about habitat. Okay, what is habitat? It is an immediate environment in which an organism lives. The habitat may be of different types depending on the where the habitat is present. Okay, a terrestrial habitat may comprise of forest, grasslands, tundra, etc. Okay, so there are two types of habitats. First is terrestrial and aquatic. Majorly, it's of two types, terrestrial and aquatic. In terrestrial, there are a few other types also. Okay, out of that, first type is forest habitat. Okay, obviously, forest is a habitat where different kinds of animals lives, different kinds of plants lives. Okay, so it is characterized with tree mostly above 8 meters. Then forest community may be evergreen, deciduous, high and low types of forest may be there. Okay, then the next type of terrestrial habitat is grassland habitat, where the grasses are there. Okay, most amount of plant material that is present, fauna that is present, is grasses. Okay, so these are called as grasslands. Okay, like prairies, grasslands and other grasslands. Okay, so these are all herbaceous plants that is present, and majority of them are germinoid. Okay, then comes the desert habitat. So here all the xerophytic plants or succulent plants are found. Okay, the temperature of this region is very high, so other animals and other plants or vegetation is seen very low in this kind of habitat, and xerophytic animals and plants to live in this area. Okay, then last one is the tundra habitat. That is the last of the terrestrial habitat. Tundra habitat is it consists of very low woody vegetation, and generally this is found in the Arctic areas. Okay, where it is found? It is found in the Arctic areas. Okay, it is found in the Arctic areas. Okay, so Arctic areas, there are two types of tundras, Arctic and alpine tundra. So these are the two areas where lots of uh, ice caps are there, glaciers are there. Okay, so like these are all habitat comes under tundra habitat. Okay, so these are the few photos. Here you can see the forest habitat, then grassland habitat, then desert habitat, and then tundra habitat. Okay, so now it is the aquatic habitat. We are going to see the types of aquatic habitat. Aquatic, the word itself means that water will be involved here. Yes, so there are different types. First is freshwater habitat. Species found in freshwater are a part of freshwater habitat. It can be river, lake, pond, etc. Okay. This type of habitat is freshwater habitat. Then second is saline water habitat. Here the water is saline, so marine waters like ocean, sea are saline waters where this kind of habitat is there. Okay, and all the kinds of animals also live in this habitat are aquatic or marine animals. Okay, but these were the different types of habitat. Okay, but I told you already, niche is an effective role or position of a species in that environment. What position an organism holds in that environment and what is its proper function in that environment, that is called as its niche. Okay, and how the species respond to the location, resources and other things that is present in the environment. Okay, so niche can be based on what the individual eats, how it interacts with the environment, how it connects with the non-living factors present in the environment. Okay, so all these things comes under the niche of a particular organism. Okay, so it also consumes the flow of energy. Okay, flow of energy is also dependent on niche, and this is very important for organisms, how it accepts a species or how it interacts with the species. Okay, so thereby due to niche, sometimes there may be competition in different kinds of animals also. Okay, so without ecological niches, there will be less biological variety, variation will be low, and ecosystem balance will be also low. Okay, so niche is also very important to maintain the ecosystem balance, and niche is also very important to maintain the food chain, ultimately food web. Okay, so if the food web is maintained properly, the energy flow is also maintained properly, and trophic level also is maintained properly. Okay, so let's see somewhat history about niche, how it was started. So Joseph Grinnell in 1970 coined the term niche for the first time. Okay, to denote the microhabitat where the organism lives. Okay, now niche is not the microhabitat, it is actually the key role or the position of that organism or the role that it plays in that ecosystem, that is the niche. Okay, so Charles Ilton in 1927, who devised the Iltonian pyramid or ecological pyramid, regarded the niche as a fundamental unit of organism, because this is the niche is the character of that organism, and due to this character that organism survives in the environment. Okay, Kendi in 1974 considered the niche as a combination of habitat and biotic interaction. Okay, how an organism interacts with the other species present in that immediate environment, and how it survives, how its community continues to survive. Okay, the adaptations that is made to survive is called as niche. Okay, so let's see the type of niche. The ecological niche may be of three types. First is spatial type or habitat niche type. This depends on the habitat of the organism. Okay, it is broadly related to the concept of habitat, but differs from it in the sense that while different species may occupy same habitat, the area is very large where an organism lives, but the activity of the organism actually defines or actually differentiate the organisms based on their activity in that particular environment. Just like the first example that I told you of the habitat niche, where a single tree is there and that tree is occupied by lots of birds. Yes, that tree is occupied by lots of birds, but the tree is habitat for all the kinds of birds. Yes, but the different kinds of birds have different kind of niche. For example, the herbivorous birds is eating fruits, leaves, etc. That is their niche. Yes, the carnivorous birds are eating insects, small caterpillars, larvae, etc. These are the carnivorous birds. Okay, so that is the niche of that carnivorous birds. Okay, and some birds may eat insects and may eat fruits also. Okay, so that is the niche for that kind of birds. Yes, so this kind of niche is called habitat niche. Okay, I hope you are getting this. Okay, next is trophic niche. This refers to the trophic position or the food level of an organism. Okay, at what level that particular niche lives in that. Okay, the same example that I told you is given here for the genera, namely Geopsisa, that is ground finches, then Camerophinus finus, that is tree finches, and Cethrida, verbal finches, are found around. All these finches live on the same habitat but differs in their trophic level. Okay, why I have told you the example again, that tree and bird example, because the herbivorous birds will be at the tree will be at the producer level, that is the primary producer. Okay, then the herbivorous bird will be at the consumer level, that is herbivores, primary consumers, and the carnivorous bird will be at the secondary consumer level. Okay, so therefore, since the level or the trophic level of these birds are different, they are also called as trophic niche. Okay, then the last one is hypervolume niche or multidimensional niche. Okay, the concept of hypervolume niche or multidimensional niche was actually developed by Hutchinson in 1965. Okay, so here by multidimensional niche, he means a bigger area where he devised or he divided the multidimensional niche into two different types. Okay, the first type is fundamental niche. Okay, so fundamental niche is the maximum abstractly inhibited hypervolume where a species is not competing with others for resources. Okay, so for example, a particular species is living in a particular area and it has no competition. Okay, so whatever the characters that species will have is its fundamental niche, and due to that it is living freely. Okay, but this is not the case in realized niche, where the individual or species normally remains in competition, and due to this inter competition uh, between the species, the biotic constraint or stress is there. Okay, and this results in realized niche, where the species which is more competent, species which is having more time, which is getting more adapted, is going to survive. Okay, so this kind of niche is called realized niche. Okay, the best example shown over here, you can see the fundamental niche is the whole tree here. Okay, and then the yellow birds which inhibits the upper region, then red birds inhibits the middle region, and the blue birds inhibits the lower trunk and branches. These are the different specific elevations within that tree, and this can be a realized niche for each one of them, but the fundamental niche is same for every one of them, that is the whole tree. Okay, so there are few terms that is related to niche in ecology. That let's see few terms. Niche breadth and overlap. Okay, niche breadth is the generally the area where an organism specialized to live. Okay, it may refers to the width of the area. The species that utilize a broad spectrum of environment are called as habitat. They usually have high niche breadth. Okay, the species which is dominant in a particular area, their area of specialization or area of living is a larger area. Okay, and in that particular area, that organism is flourishing more properly, it is more adapted to that particular area, and therefore it has gained control over a larger area in breadth. Okay, therefore it is called as niche breadth. Okay, so for a particular organism, if we calculate or if we find out the niche breadth, then we may know that organism is more properly living in that area. Okay, so generally this organism is more flourishing if it is having more niche breadth. Okay, so organisms which are having narrow spectrum or narrow range or narrow environmental spectrum, they exhibit low niche or low niche breadth score. Okay, now let's see the niche overlap. Okay, sometimes what happens, tiger may enter a territory of a lion and lion may enter a territory of a tiger. Okay, so when this happens, now it gives rise to the competition. Okay, so this is kind of the thing which is called as niche overlap. Okay, it is measured of the association of two or more species. Okay, in other words, how often a two species occurs together in a habitat or ecosystem. Okay, a high niche overlap value of two species indicate that they are found together more often in a particular habitat. Okay, this also indicates that food and space will be the limiting factor for them, and it will definitely give rise to competition. Okay, and due to competition, there will be elimination of certain species or certain number of individuals of that particular species. Okay, so hence niche overlap is also very important to study. Okay, so this is the graph where niche overlap is shown to you. You can see species 1 niche breadth and species 2 niche breadth is shown to you here, and this is the region of overlap where the competition or the stress between the two species may arise. Okay, so the basic I have summed up the difference between niche and habitat here. So all habitat characters are written over here and niche habitat characters are written over here. Okay, so habitat, what is habitat? Habitat is a particular place where the organism lives. You can call this place as address. Okay, for students, if I have to tell you, students, their home or their house where they live is the habitat, and the place where they go to school is their niche. Okay, so a niche defines a specific role played by an organism in an ecosystem, and that will be its profession. Okay, it's just an example, but it happens in nature like that. Okay, Habitat is not species specific. Okay, in a particular habitat number of species may live. Okay, they can occupy same place, eat same thing, but niche is species specific. It is very specific to different species and it supports only a single species. Okay, for example, the niche of human being is being more intelligent. Okay, and human being uses this niche to flourish. Okay, to develop itself. Okay, habitat consists of several niches. So in a particular habitat several niches may be there, but niche is never different. Niche is different for different species. Okay, it is unique property of a particular species. Okay, and it will not overlay. Okay, but must have distinct differences. Okay, it will never overlap. Okay, habitat is a superset of niche and niche is a subset of habitat. Okay, then examples of habitat, as I told you already: desert, ocean, mountains, grasslands, forests, etc. And then different trophic positions occupied by Darwin finches, you know, that different kinds of birds in their trophic level is a niche for different kinds of organisms. Okay, so this is what I have to told you. I have to tell you in this video regarding the habitat and niche. Thank you for watching this video. If you find this video useful, please do subscribe the channel. Thank you for watching, all of you.